What would the world look like if people felt like they mattered? Welcome to the Lead with Love podcast, exploring what it means to lead with love in business and life. I'm your host, Jada Selner, and in this show, I'll share meaningful conversations to help you, the creative, the entrepreneur, the world changer, reach more people, go after your dreams, and serve your community with love. I appreciate you joining me. Now let's get cozy and start today's episode. Welcome. So the episode today on Lead with Love is pretty special. I decided to get cozy with 3 female founders who are choosing to lead with love in their business and lives. And I've had the honor to personally work with these women and mentor them over the past year inside the Love Over Metrics Incubator, which is a mastermind and mentorship program that will help you get clear on your next steps for business growth. And you'll hear each of these women talking about, how to scale to the next level. And, I'm really committed to women building companies that scale your impact and serve the world without compromising your health, your relationships, and sanity. There are many, many different ways and pace and all of those things when it comes to building a business at scale. And I just take a really big stand for building a business that is sustainable. And we really need to take our whole selves into the picture when we're building. And so that's what Love Over Metrics really means is leading with love first and then letting the numbers follow. So we don't let the numbers make all of our decisions. We have to remember the humanity and the beating hearts, not just behind, the customers and the community that you serve, but also your team and you as a leader. We need to really be taking into account that there are humans running these businesses, and we really have to honor that and not burn out and not burn your business to the ground because you can no longer keep up and maintain what you've built. So I'm really about that intentional growth. I'm all about scaling. I'm all about building profitable businesses so that you can make a difference, not just in your community's life, but also your own. But we really have to pay attention to those parts as well. And if you're curious about Love Over Metrics, you can actually go over to loveovermetrics.com, especially if you're ready for guidance and support in an intimate community and you really want to up your CEO game and just your approach to how you lead and build your company, then I would definitely recommend you head over and apply. I actually only open up applications once a year, so definitely check it out. And today you're going to meet 3 female founders, and I do 3 separate interviews. The first is with Meri, who is the founder of Meri Art Studio in Los Angeles, California. So she has a brick and mortar business and also an online community as well. And then you'll also meet Nikki Silvestri, who is the founder and CEO of Soil and Shadow, which is a project development firm designing economic and environmental strategies with humans left in. So she has a thriving consulting practice. She's also an international speaker. And then you'll get to meet Julia and Megan, who are the co-founders of KidArtLit, which is a subscription box company for young families that delivers story time and art kits monthly. And so you'll get to meet 2 people who have a physical products-based business. And what I just think is so beautiful about the Love Over Metrics community is what is the commonality is that these women truly make decisions from their heart, and they're super smart, super strategic. They have traction and momentum in their businesses. They have people who love what they do, and they're just looking to scale to that next level where selling feels like an act of service and they still have time to love up on their team, love up on their family, and take care of themselves in the process. So let's get started with the first interview with Meri Cherry. And yes, that is her real name. She's now thriving in the second year of her art studio, and they're in discussions for franchising. And I'm actually super excited because we will continue our work together for another year, which I'm so excited about, just really witnessing that expansion and growth. And Meri has cultivated and engaged a loyal online community of over 32,000 Instagram followers. She has over 50,000 Facebook fans and a popular website and blog, mericherry.com. And that's Meri. So let's get cozy with Meri. Yay, Meri.
Dada.
I'm so excited to connect with you today. And I just, it's been so awesome to witness your journey with your brick and mortar business, which I'd love for you to share more about, and just what you do online and through Instagram. So I first discovered you through Raquel, who's the founder, creator of Tinker Lab. And I'm just so thankful that she introduced you to me and me to you, so that I just remember our first conversation. It was just filled with so much positivity, so much joy, and just happy to be here, a year later connecting with you. And so I would love for you to just share a little bit about your business, what you do, and sharing your magic. Are you open to sharing that?
Sure, I'd love to. Thanks for having me. Well, I'm really passionate about process art, which is art that's all about the making and the doing rather than the finished product. And I realized that there wasn't a place for kids and families to go where they can just explore and work with new materials and create at their own pace and get messy. And so about 2 years ago, I created Meri Cherry Art Studio, which is a process-based art studio here in LA.
That's awesome. And I'm curious, about your background and where did that desire of making process art versus focusing on the finished product, where did that come from? Where was that seed planted for you?
I was a K through 2 teacher for about 15 years in Hollywood at a private school. And so I was always working with kids, but it started earlier because growing up, I just thought of this. My dad always said, enjoy the process. It's about the process. It's about the journey. And those words kind of always stuck with me. And I gained a lot of confidence from art growing up. I was good at it, and I noticed I got a lot of attention from it. And also it was really therapeutic and allowed me to explore all these different creative ideas. So I grew up having a really positive experience around art. And then as I grew up and then became a teacher and was working with kids, I saw the power of art and how it can affect a child and how it can help them grow and figure things out and give them confidence. And it was contagious to me. So I just really infused my classroom experience in art making. And then as the years went on, I thought, I just got more and more into it. I started blogging about art making with my children. And because they were so young, I have a almost 6-year-old and a 7-year-old. When they were really young, we were just doing totally sensory process-based art activities. And I was sharing them online, and then people seemed to be interested in them. And I became more and more interested in them. And then when my daughters started preschool, I got hired to create the art studio program in their preschool, and I got to design the studio and come up with the whole program. And I really fell in love. And it was a Reggio-inspired school, which is very process-based and and I just fell in love. And I saw what the experience the kids and the teachers and the parents were having from it. And I was hooked. And during that time, I also started getting calls from the school I had worked at previously of parents asking me to come to their home and teach a group of kids an art lesson each week. And so I was just, fully embracing this process art life. And I started teaching these after school classes, and one became two. And through word of mouth, all of a sudden I had, I think it was like 10 or 11 classes, and I had to hire someone else to help me teach the classes, and it just kept growing.
Oh, I love that so much. It wasn't like you had this business plan in front of you. I'm going to start a business, but people saw something in you and how you could create an experience for their children. And it seems like there's just this snowball effect of okay. So once you had all of those classes, is that when you decided I need a physical space to hold all of this?
Well, it's interesting because I think of myself as an entrepreneur at heart, and I've had other businesses in the past that I think were good ideas, but it was really me swimming upstream to make them work. And this was the first time where it was happening so organically, and it was sort of like the universe was leading my business rather than me. And it just seemed to be like this real marriage of all the things I was good at coming together. And I kept saying to my husband, who is not only my marriage partner, but just my best friend and partner in life, and I kept saying to him, Ev, his name is Evan, I think this is a thing. This might be a thing. I think this could be a business. And I said, maybe should I open an art studio? And I kept asking him, and he's so wise, and he just kept saying, slow down. What's the rush? Why do you want to rush into having overhead and all these responsibilities? Let's see where you can take this. Let's squeeze everything you can out of what you're doing now and see what happens. And I remember a very poignant moment where I was having a pop-up art class in my garage in my house, and we packed as many kids and as many parents in there as we could. We had external air conditioners going on both sides. It was so hot where we live. And he peeked his head in, my husband, and he called me inside the kitchen. He's like, you did it, baby. It's time. And we signed a lease on the studio, I think 2 weeks later.
Oh, I love that. I'm getting chills from that. And I already love Ev so much when he's like, slow down. What's the rush? Because I love that approach to building in a way that is intentional and sustainable. I'm curious for you, signing that lease and going, all in on the art studio. What were some fears that came up in starting the business and growing it to the next level?
It was exciting. And yes, there were a lot of fears. I mean, just to have a rent responsibility that, I had never had that before. The idea of hiring employees and just the financial worries definitely popped up quite a bit. And that's where I just kept returning to gratitude towards Evan, because we waited so long. My business was so ready. It wasn't like I had to sit around and wait for customers. I felt so grateful from go. The community was so ready for something like this, and they embraced us. And so we were able to just hit the ground running.
Yeah. And I know that we met, I think you were just your first year into your business. Is that right?
Yes. So that whole first year, actually, Evan and I had discussed, I think in year 2, we'll get a business coach. Because I had heard Raquel from Tinker Lab, who, like you said, I'm so grateful to her for introducing us. I had heard different people, and I listened to a lot of podcasts about these masterminds and business coaches. I heard from Raquel, and she mentioned your name, and Evan and I went and we watched your World Domination?
Yeah, World Domination Summit.
Yes. So we went home, we watched that, and I remember Evan and I standing up at the end, giving you a standing ovation. And it was, I think you even had a process during it, and we were just so in it, and okay, you found your person, let's do this.
Yeah. What would you say for you, and we've almost been working together for a year, have been some of the celebrations and wins that you've created for your business?
Ooh, there have been so many wins because you're amazing. One was like right out of the gate, I knew I wanted to make this a process art toolkit, like a 101 downloadable book that people can get. That was like anyone who was interested in process art, they can access this online and purchase it. And it just seemed like such a daunting project whenever I thought about it. And I think that one of the things I've learned from Love Over Metrics is you've helped me take the projects down in size and make them really manageable. And I think I knocked out the process art toolkit in a month, not even, and it unfolded with such grace and ease, and it was done. And I couldn't believe it. For like a month after I finished it, I kept like, my heart would drop and I would say, oh, I have to do that. And then I'd have a sigh of relief, like, oh, I did it already. So that felt like a really big win.
Yeah, I love that. And also I know that you have, your 2 daughters, and how have you been able to balance business and motherhood and, being a CEO and being present at home and just kind of integrating all of those pieces?
I mean, it's a challenge for sure. Especially because I'm in a business that deals with children. My daughters, really feel that, like when I'm paying attention to all the other kids but them. So we've done a lot of like soul searching, a lot of book reading, a lot of conversations and communication, and reminding them that they're my number one, even when I'm helping 5 other kids. So that's been a part, and just like taking the time that I need to spend with my family. And you can kind of feel it around the house when I'm working too much and I'm not around. So we kind of take a step back and spend some extra time with each other.
So I'm curious for you, what would you say if you were to describe how your business looked when we first had our first conversation to how it looks and feels for you in this next season of growth?
I mean, it's grown tremendously from class size and birthday parties, and all the stuff that we do is just really elevated from when we first met. But to me, like the biggest difference is how it's running behind the scenes and how we're so much closer to being the well-oiled machine I always hoped we would be. And like to not think of things as so big, like there's so many things that need to go into a business and they don't happen overnight, especially if you're more, if it's a small business. And so I think by being in Love Over Metrics, you've really taught me that I'll tackle all these things one at a time and they'll get done in their time when they need to get done. I have more of a sense of calm than I ever had before because I know I'll do it 1 month or 1 quarter at a time.
Yeah. I love that. And I think we all can get guilty of like building up that mountain out of a molehill. And it's just such a good reminder of like, there's time. Like we don't have to rush into all the pieces. And if we can look at it from a big picture perspective and then go in from the big picture to like, what's the next baby step that has to happen? What would you say, a big part of Love Over Metrics is the community of women and being able to, meet other people who are like-hearted, that are building businesses as well. Like, how would you describe, like, if someone was considering leaning into the Love Over Metrics community, like, who would be the perfect person for Love Over Metrics?
Well, I think anyone who does this is so lucky. And if you take your business seriously and want to grow your business and take it to the next level, then this is the program for you, because it's so hard to do this stuff on our own. I mean, we could figure it out maybe in 10 years or however long it takes, but it doesn't have to be this like daunting, oh my God, I have to figure this out. And when you're surrounded by other like-minded women who have similar goals and speak a similar language, and with someone like you, Jada, leading the way, who's so experienced, it's so powerful. I firmly believe in it takes a village. To have this supportive village on my side is just nothing can compare. So I think for any woman out there who takes their business seriously and wants to take it to the next level, then Love Over Metrics could be the answer for you.
That's awesome. So one thing I'm curious for you, because you are an entrepreneur at heart and you are creative, you're a visionary, you have so many ideas and you just dive in. I think the process art that you guide children through, that I think you live your life that way as well, is really enjoying the process. And I'm just curious, what words of wisdom would you have to share with someone just from your own experience who's growing their business?
Well, thank you. I try to enjoy the journey of life as we go, and it would be the same advice that my dad always tried to give me. Just enjoy the journey. It's not a destination. Art is not a destination. It's a process, it's a journey. And the more we can take in the present and just be grateful for what's in front of us. I have so many things to be grateful for in my personal life and in my business. And when I take a moment to just stand still or be still and look around at all the things that have happened, it can be overwhelming in such a beautiful, joyful, gratitude-filled way.
Yeah. So I'm curious for you with, the growth of Meri Cherry Studios, what's next for your business and what are you most excited about?
Well, I'm super excited. I'm writing a book. That's something new and really exciting. So I'm working hard on that, a process art book. And also this year, I'm so excited to really step into making the studio all that it can be. Now we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary, so year 3 feels so full of possibility. And then from that place, we'll be able to make a decision about franchising or opening a second studio or all the different possibilities. So I'm just this is the year. I'm really excited to just see what happens.
Oh, I love that. And I'm so excited. And I'm also excited that we get to continue working and playing together. And I love that you lean into possibility. And if people want to learn more about you and find that book when it comes out, where should they go to learn more about you?
Well, MeriCherry.com is my website, and Meri is Meri, and cherry like the fruit. And I'm Meri Cherry LA on Instagram, and those are the 2 places you can find me.
Awesome. I'm so inspired by the work that you do in the world. And I love that you are helping kids build that foundation within them. And I just can't wait to see what's next for you. So thank you, Meri. I love you so much.
Thank you, Jada. It's just such a pleasure to work with you and get to know you. And I appreciate you having me on the podcast. I'm a devoted fan.
Awesome. Don't you just love Meri? I just love when she said the universe was leading my business rather than me. So, so beautiful and so true. Just really allowing your business to grow organically and paying attention to the openings and opportunities. So now this next interview is with Nikki, and she obviously has the beautiful consulting practice, being the founder and CEO of Soil and Shadow. She was also the co-founder of Live Real and former executive director of People's Grocery in Oakland and Green for All. And Nikki has built and strengthened social equity for underrepresented populations in food systems, social services, public health, climate solutions, and economic development. And Nikki is all about the triple bottom line, which she will talk about in this interview. Hello, Nikki.
Hey there.
I'm so excited to jam with you. I know we were just talking about business, life, work, babies, all the good stuff. So I'm excited to dive in with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So, my intention is I am so inspired by your body of work and what you've put out into the world. So I'd love for you to just share a little bit about what it is that you do and how you show up and serve in the world.
Yeah, it has been a windy twisty road. So I've spent most of my career as a nonprofit executive director, working in climate change and food systems from the perspective of social equity and working with underrepresented populations. And it was both locally and nationally. And the way that we approached equity, really, I was noticing more and more people asking me to just be in the room when there were tough negotiations going on. I ended up seeing that the core and the crux and the key to a lot of my work was that people don't know how to play well together in groups. The core of my work is lifting up the hidden dynamics in relationships, either personally or professionally, that are not allowing you to achieve your goals, giving you the tools and the practices to be able to work through those dynamics so that you can have really fulfilling outcomes, whether that's with your community, if you're a professional in the social change arena, whether that's with your family on the personal side, whether you're an executive, no matter what field you're in.
You know what I love about that? My husband, George, and I, we talk about this a lot of like, nobody was given the tools of how to communicate to another human being. So a little bit of background, Nikki and I have known each other since teenage years, right?
Man, I was 17 when I met you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And we met in Los Angeles. We used to work with Layla Steinberg. She had AIM. What was it? Assemblies in Motion, right? For creative artists to come together. Layla was the manager for Tupac Shakur, and I was introduced to you through your family's work in working with kids in the foster care system. And so your work for social change and nonprofits goes back to childhood. Like you grew up with this stuff. Right.
That was the family business.
So in the work that you're doing today, where did that stem from? Did you know that you wanted to do this type of work, when you were younger? When was the seed planted?
Yeah, I've been doing this work since I was really little. And I think the way that it started for me was because my parents had foster boys in our home before I was, 5 or so. I had 7 older foster brothers that lived with us before it became a group home situation. And also being raised in the 80s in Los Angeles when the gang wars were at their peak, I think my consciousness just formed in this environment that understood that Black people are really beautiful and Black people have a lot of struggle. And so I don't think it ever occurred to me that I would do anything other than nonprofit work. Like that was for other people, I guess. Yeah. Like I knew corporations and business existed, but it was kind of over there. I got into the environment really because I was a Captain Planet kid and because it just made common sense. But when I saw An Inconvenient Truth when I was in college, that's when that consciousness really clicked to me. And so I threw all of my effort into combining my love for supporting families, especially, and people of color and folks that are low income with thriving, both health-wise and wealth-wise, with making sure that the environment is thriving.
And I know that you've made not necessarily even a pivot, but an evolution of your brand, of your work. I know you just recently launched a website for your work, and you've made this transition from the nonprofit world for the for-profit for good. And I'm just curious, if there have been any fears that have come up along the way in making that shift in your business journey.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. A big fear was, is it okay to make money? I mean, that was probably the core one, right? Is a lot of my social change work was in communities that just know a lot about the global economy and how the global economy functions and where the wealth gap came from. I just feel like I have a lot of information about that. And so being able to hold that dynamic tension between knowing the way that money works in the world and knowing who benefits from it and upon whose backs that money is made, with the fact that stewarding and shepherding resources is a sacred honor and a privilege. Both of those things are true at the same time. And a lot of my work is about being able to hold complexity and holding polarity. And so I think it was when I started asking myself the question, if I was in full alignment from my spirit to my heart, to my thoughts, to my actions around my core drive in the world, what would that look like?
So was there a part of you that has ever done the work showing up and not leaning into the shadow side and the complexity and kind of overriding that part?
The year 2014, just the whole year. Can we just say the whole year, which was my pivot? I had a pretty severe breakdown and left my job and left very long-term friendships of mine and had pretty serious fertility struggles. My whole life fired me because I wasn't looking at these shadow dynamics. And I ended up in a puddle on the ground needing to make a change or bust, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm just like feeling into that. Just the phrasing of my life fired me, right? Just not like just work but like everything. And I can so feel that. And I think it's beautiful that you're diving into this shadow work for everyone else to lean into that too. And I know you mentioned, the alignment and what is true for you and your values. And I know a question that you've asked me, you've participated in Love Over Metrics with me for almost a year. And one of the questions that I love that you ask is, what's the Love Over Metrics way of doing this? And so I'm just curious for you in your decision and why you decided to build a business leading with love first.
It feels like sacred work. That was the phrase that came up for me. That there's a way that because business, being able to hold the triple bottom line value of profit, people, and planet only works if profit's working. And that's something that I think is, it's a little controversial sometimes to say in triple bottom line communities.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have that value when I was in the nonprofit world. And it meant that I was always struggling to serve the way that I wanted to serve. And I wanted to stop struggling, but I realized that I just didn't know how to do that, which meant that I needed to learn business in a different way. And so the challenge of being able to serve the communities that I care about and serve the earth and serve my family and serve myself from a place of true abundance where there are no limitations was a challenge that I felt like I was finally ready for. And I knew it was going to kick my royal behind, which is why I reached out for help.
And have you been able to make that shift from the I can't make money to I can make money and focus on the triple bottom line?
Yes, I have. And I think it's because I didn't have this consciousness around the stewarding and the shepherding of resources before. And one thing I heard recently, there's a community called GIFT, which is Grassroots Initiative for Fundraising Training, I think is the acronym for it. And there was a webinar recently where a woman or a person there said that it's all our money. And I really loved hearing that because it's basically saying our responsibility is to responsibly steward and shepherd the resources, like all resources that we come into contact with. And so it just expanded my arena around it's all already all of our money.
I love that. So I'm curious for you, going through Love Over Metrics, what wins would you like to celebrate from this journey, from where you were to I don't know if I can still be of service and make money, to now where you are today? Well,
I mean, the biggest win was I signed up when I was hella pregnant and I thought that was insanity. But a big win was just having a community of women to hold the vision for my business when I was holding the vision for my family and my child. And having a community where I can show up on the phone in my robe while nursing my son, knowing that I'm still my brain is completely of value. My voice is completely of value. But this is the only community really that I have where I can show up in my wholeness and my fullness and be seen as all that I am. I'm able to be a mom and an executive at the same time in the way that I want to be. That's the biggest win. And I actually really didn't think it was possible.
So what shifts have you made in being a CEO of your own company and being a mom now?
Well, I'm pretty rigid about only working 20 hours a week, if I can get pretty granular about that. I was one of those people that was always on the phone, checking my email and sorting through. But now I feel like my life, there are places for everything. When that nanny is here, that's when I'm working and I'm not thinking about my kids. When I'm with my son, I'm with my son. I think it even feels like a meditation almost, like I'm just present wherever I am now. Whereas before, all areas of my life were bleeding into all other areas of my life, which created this feeling of overwhelm and that I never had space. And also, the art of delegation is a huge one. The art of delegation and the art of simplifying something, really offering one thing really well.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. It's that simplifying of just creating that ease. And I think as ambitious women, when we are driven to serve and change the world and be an amazing wife and an amazing mother, that it feels like all the roles and you're trying to be, a badass at everything, but you have to simplify and give yourself permission to have the space to rejuvenate and recharge and think big picture before we go into doing mode. So do you have any wisdom that you would share for someone else who is, wanting to step into that next level of growth in their business and what you've been able to learn in your years of experience and being able to be a part of the Love Over Metrics community?
So I think the words of wisdom that I would offer are, when all else feels like it's going to just be a lot of work, lean into surprise and delight. That's one of my favorite things that you have offered me, Jada, is that when I feel like I am just on my edge with all the new things that I'm trying to practice and all the ways that I want to grow, being able to figure out how to delight the people that I love and surprise them out of the blue with things that they didn't even know they always wanted is nourishing. It's nourishing for me, it's nourishing for them, and it creates the foundation for that reciprocity that benefits everybody.
Thank you for sharing that. And I'm also curious, when you think about the women in the community with Love Over Metrics, there's women out there who are growing their businesses, trying to figure out like, what's the next step? What's my plan? I need clarity. I need, community, accountability. Who would you say that Love Over Metrics is designed for?
I feel like Love Over Metrics is designed for women that want to really make good money, who also love all the love and the gushy stuff. And I actually feel like the world is not made for us in a way. It's like, when I find the level of rigor that I'm looking for around business training, it tends to be so masculine and so hardcore and so heady that I just don't feel as nourished. But walking into Love Over Metrics, it feels like business spa. That's how I've described it to people. Like, I'm just so, the candles and like the scent, you have a full sensory experience with the way that you hold us. And it's made for women who need that, because we push and because we have families and because we give so much of ourselves all the time. So being able to be nourished and cared for the way that you care for us, while also being like, here's the 6 articles and 3 books and 2 tools to address this question you just had. It's incredible.
I like that, business spa. So I'm curious for you. I know, you've done a recent beta launch with your Shadow Lab work, which I'm so excited about. But I'm curious, what's next for you in your business and what you're most excited about?
I think I am really excited about Shadow Lab. And I'm excited to have Shadow Lab is a laboratory for integrating the shadow. That's exactly what it sounds like. And I define the shadow just as any hidden dynamics that are acting on us that we can't manage because we don't know that they're there. Those are the ones that tend to be the most screwball in our relationships and in our work. And so I'm excited about taking people through that shadow process individually and in a group way, and having more tools and resources to offer so that anyone at any level of engagement who wants to start unearthing the hidden dynamics that are causing us chaos can engage.
And if people wanted to learn more about your Shadow Lab work, where would they go to find you?
You can go to NikkiSilvestri.com, and in the upper right corner, you can click on Work with Me, and all of my offerings, including the group and the individual work, you can see there.
I'm like, I want to raise my hand. I want in. I think that work is so important. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to share before we wrap up?
I think I'm really grateful, Jada, for the community, and any woman who is considering working with you. Do it.
Thank you, love. I am so inspired by Nikki's work, and I really love how that triple bottom line of serving the people I care about, serving the earth, serving my family, and it just melted my heart when she said, having a community of women to hold the vision for her business while she was holding the vision for her family. And I just think it takes a village to raise a woman who is building a business and growing a family at the same time. And I just really, really love that. So now let's get cozy with Julia and Megan, the co-founders of KidArtLit. They are two longtime educators in Northern California, so they're in my area, and they met in a local moms group, and their goal with their subscription box company is to make it easy for families to ignite creativity and a love of reading in their children, and just really creating that deep connection with families. And it's just so beautiful what they're doing. And, they plant a little seed inside this interview. And they're definitely coming up with some really creative ways to make their work more accessible to more people. And there's one part that's just going to melt your heart about how they have expanded their team. So let's dive in. Hi, Megan. Hi, Julia.
Hi, Jada.
Hi, Jada.
I'm so excited to talk with you all today. I know that we first met in person was at the Women's Business Circle last summer, and I got an opportunity to even lead a hot seat with you two. And what I think is so special about you two is you're two mamas who, work from home, have built a business, which I want you guys to talk about in just a second, but are also co-founders. And there's something really, really beautiful about that. I just think it's very unique and special. And I know that there's awesome rewards and also challenges along the way in, building a business, raising a family. So I would love to start with you, Megan, and just telling me about what it is that you and Julia do.
Well, Julia and I are co-founders of a company called KidArtLit, and we are all about kids, art, and literature. We deliver boxes to families all over the world every month that are these gorgeous packages containing a kid's picture book and then related process art or open-ended art experiences. And our goal with the company is really all about serving families with young kids and helping them carve out a space in their home and in their daily, weekly, and monthly routines to connect really deeply together. And the way that we do that is through the books and art.
I love that. The main goal and vision is for families to connect deeply with each other. And Julie, I'm curious for you, I'm sure you guys, and Megan, I'd love to hear from you as well, of your why for starting KidArtLit. Like, where did it come from?
Well, I don't know. We kind of landed on the subscription model after we tried out a couple of different ideas, but we really decided to do this because we wanted to kind of rediscover for ourselves and our own families, connecting with them through books and art. We were already doing that, and we were sharing those aspects with the world through Instagram. And I was also doing in-person classes for children. And I think Megan and I were both ready to take what we were doing to the next level. And we decided to start collaborating on some different things together. And it was through that we saw that there was really something there. There was a spark, there was an interest. And it was through talking with all the families that we were serving at the time with our free content, what it was that they would want to see from us. And it came out that it was this subscription box concept. And it's really to continue to help families connect with their kids and to create an intentional way to do so every month, so that in this busy modern world that we live in, that we are setting things aside and really taking time to share quality time with our children.
I love the quality time. That's actually my personal love language, is spending quality time. So I love that you shared that. One question that I have is, and Julie, maybe you could share this, is how you guys actually, when was the first time that you met? And were there any fears and hesitations in going, half and half and building a business together?
I try to remember. I think, Megan, we met, it was an online, an online forum for mother. Yes, that's right. Okay. It was on Facebook, actually, is where we met. Megan had posted something in that group about starting or being interested in starting a play cafe. And at the time I was working with one, and I was like, oh, hey, I work with one, you guys should meet and talk. And so I think that's where the thread started.
Oh, I love that. And was there any fears or hesitations in kind of going all in together in business?
No.
No, yeah. No, I don't know. I think at that point, Megan and I had actually collaborated several times, and we had also kept running into each other over and over again in different capacities after that initial posting on Facebook. And I was really excited to see what we could create.
At the time, I can't speak for you, Julia, but for me, I was just really in flow and deeply in touch with following my intuition and going for it. That's the space that I was in just a space of following that curiosity and going all in. And I think that's how we ended up doing something as big as the thing that we have done in such a short amount of time, is just throwing it all out there and listening to our hearts.
We met last summer. It was in July. So how many months in, Megan, were you guys in the business at that time when we met?
We had officially launched our business and started taking orders in April, and we delivered our first boxes to families in May of 2017. And before that, we had done a lot of pre-launching and laying the groundwork and building a community around this idea of connecting deeply with kids through books and art.
And so you guys were building that community online before launching that first physical product, right?
Yes, definitely. Yes. We were both on Instagram and blogging on our own for at least a year. That was so key.
Yeah. And what was the summer? Can you describe, Julia, just what was the state of the business, last year? What were kind of the challenges and obstacles that were coming up for being such a new startup, having that, first launch in spring? Can you give me just a snapshot of what was happening in that startup phase?
I don't know. I think ignorance is really bliss in a lot of ways, because for us, it was just kind of generating on its own. When it first launched, it was really well received. And then once we launched, it really was one of those questions of okay, now what do we do now? And how do we do this? Okay, whoa, we have something here. This is working. People are receiving this and they're loving it. And we're loving providing this. But then it was also kind of, for me personally, I had a moment of overwhelm thinking, wait a minute, we have to do this every month. Holy cow, what did we just do? And then once I kind of creeped out from under the covers of that and realized wait a minute, what a gift that is. It became a motivator for me especially, but then there was a lot of time in there where Megan and I had to kind of figure out the groundwork for what it was of what did we want this to remain and to evolve into? And that you kind of realize that just because you launch something, that doesn't mean that that's the end of it, right? Especially with a product that renews every month, you have to figure out how to maintain that momentum. And at the time, Megan and I were sourcing, building, packaging, and shipping all of everything ourselves. And so it was a lot.
Yeah. And what about for you, Megan? What did you feel like the challenges and obstacles during that super startup phase?
I'm nodding my head at everything that Julia is saying. It was kind of an ignorance is bliss thing. And it was just intensely creative, and I was loving it. I was feeling so immersed in the creation, like the birth of this exciting new venture. That is something that I've really and that we had to kind of grow into, I think, over the last year through Love Over Metrics, what we have become. And we're still in the process of becoming.
Yeah. And I'm curious for you, you talk about Love Over Metrics. What was your reason for joining during that phase in the business?
I really wanted to scale our business. I was feeling really ready to say, okay, this is what we do. We're really great at it. Let's get it going and make it bigger.
How would you define scale?
Well, I would say that we launched with a certain number of subscriptions, and we just wanted to 2x, 3x, 10x the number of subscriptions that we were sending out every month. And I was really gung-ho and excited to just expand our impact and help more and more families and bring more and more moms into our community of creative, bookish connection.
I love that. And Julia, is there anything that you would add to that, of just kind of in that startup stage, there's the scale and just anything else?
I was looking for a mentor and a guide. I know for myself personally, I do really well when I have somebody who is able to sort of project forward. It's like when you're in education, you have, a mentor teacher, or if you're an artist, you have a mentor artist. For me, I was looking for something to help us hold that container and give that space to help us meet those goals of 10xing things. I was looking for a compass, was what I was looking for with Love Over Metrics.
What are some results that you've created, some wins that you'd like to celebrate that you have achieved in the last year?
Well, let's see. I would say that our holiday season was our biggest and most successful, as we have now learned that should be for a product-based business. And that was a huge win for us in terms of seeing where the scale could go, is basically what I would direct that to. And also, I would say a really big win is figuring out that foundation of how to share in a business dream. And I think that's something Megan and I work on daily with each other, and in that celebration of coming together and continuing to create and push this business and concept forward so that it can continue to be shared with the world.
And I think it's so beautiful, and my intention in leading with love and business and Love Over Metrics Incubator is being able to create businesses that, creating that external impact, right? We're able to create revenue growth, but we're also able to impact our teams, impact our community. Like that revenue growth means that's how many families are having more meaningful connections and quality time with their children, and also creates that impact and fulfillment for yourselves. Julia, what would you say for the type of women that Love Over Metrics is designed for? Like if someone was considering being a part of the incubator, who's the type of woman that would really thrive in the program?
I think it's somebody who really does well with having a group of people to work closely with, and who is willing to accept feedback and to make adjustments in their business, and is also just willing to kind of give back to that group too. There's a real reciprocity that's created in Love Over Metrics. And I think that the type of person that definitely would excel and blossom and bloom and all of that is somebody who's willing to just be really open to it and take all of that goodness and love that comes through it and then move on with it.
Yeah, thank you. And I know there's a lot of there's quick moments of feedback where it's, people being able to take action. Like that's something that I've seen in you all. It's like an idea is, shared, downloaded, and then you guys immediately take action on it so quickly, which has been really, really cool to see. And Megan, for you, I'm curious, and Julie, I'd love to know from you as well, of what would you say, your biggest lesson, insight, takeaway that you've could share with other people who want to grow their business to the next level now that you've been able to quench that curiosity of, what would it look like to start a business and make an impact in the world? What's some wisdom that you would share for someone else who is getting ready to take their business to that next level?
I think what you were just saying, Jada, about being an action taker and taking imperfect action has been the most important thing for us. If we hadn't just jumped in and started where we were and brought what we had, everything that we had, to our community, we wouldn't have the business that we have today.
And what would you say, because I know fear, doubt creeps in, resistance, those pieces, when you're like, I know I should be taking imperfect action right now, what would be your advice for someone who, like, when those little inner gremlins like to have, a little dance party in your brain?
One of the great things about Love Over Metrics is that there is that community there. So when you are in that dance in your head, grab a friend, grab a buddy, reach out, and there's always someone in the group who's willing to do a co-working session with you.
I love that. It's so funny because just before this conversation, I was on a call with my friend Zooming, and we were co-working together, and we were going through our blocks, and here's where I'm having resistance. And then we're like, all right, let's set the timer. Let's go. I think that's such a beautiful reminder that it's going to happen, and we need people to lean on. Julia, for you, what would you say is, some wisdom that you would share with someone who's growing their business to the next level that you can share from your own experience and diving into this entrepreneurial world?
I've been thinking about that question, and I have a couple things, but I think part of it is to find that resiliency in yourself to not give up. Because there's so many times you're like, well, that didn't work, or that didn't work. And instead of looking at it as that cup being half empty and really turning around and saying, okay, wait a minute, this is what I have. That cup is half full. What can we do with what we have to, flip it on its head? And so I feel like there's always an aspect of hope that can turn it around, and to not be afraid to tap into your creativity. I mean, you're only here once on this planet. So, you've got these gifts to share. And right now, like, this is the modality to share them for us. And I just think, keep going.
Yeah.
I love keep going.
And Julia, what would you say that you are most excited about? What's coming up next for KidArtLit that you can share with everyone?
We have so many great plans, and we've got new products that are in the works, and we have some really great aspects that we're going to bring into what we're already doing that I don't know if we're ready to totally share with the world yet, but it's coming, and it's in that incubator phase. And, there's so much more that's coming down the pipeline to be able to better serve and to more variety of families in our community and in the world.
Awesome. And Megan, where would you say that people, since, you've kind of planted a seed of curiosity, if you want to learn more, where would people go to learn more about KidArtLit?
I would love to welcome everyone to come just to our website. Super easy. It's KidArtLit.com, KidArtLit, and join our list, because we are in constant conversation with our mailing list and with the people that join our community in that way. So we would welcome anyone who's curious about what we're building and what is coming next for us, which I do think is huge and is going to be able to serve a whole lot of people that don't have access to what we're doing right now, to come on and join our mailing list at KidArtLit.com.
Awesome. And you guys also, KidArtLit has a beautiful, vibrant Instagram account, very inspiring. You share so many collaborations and celebrate, other people that are doing really cool stuff in the kid art literacy space. And I just get always so inspired with what you share. And if anyone has little ones that are having upcoming birthdays, you guys also have really cool birthday boxes too, which can be sent through the mail with lots of love. And I am such a big believer in your product, and I'm so excited for that next evolution of creating more accessibility to the work that you put out into the world. And I just love you two to pieces.
We love you, Jada. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Megan. So if you guys want to learn more, definitely go to KidArtLit.com, and I will talk to you all soon.
Yeah, we'll see everyone on Instagram.
Yeah.
Julia and Megan are so fun, and I just have a huge heart for co-founders because it's truly like having a business wifey. You're sharing finances, and you look at your team as your family that you're taking care of, and it's just so beautiful and magical. And I always feel like two part-time stay-at-home work from home moms equals like one full-time person. So it's great to be able to have that tag team energy. So hopefully that was super insightful for you. And I just love their encouragement to, inspire families and young kids and help them just carve out that space in their home, and creating those rituals, those routines to connect on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And I just think they are building something so beautiful that, takes the guesswork of like, well, how will we connect together? And it's just really, really cool. So definitely visit their website to learn more about them. And that's it. Those are the 3 female founders who are leading with love in their business and lives, and choosing to grow and scale the Love Over Metrics way, in putting people first and allowing the profit and the numbers to follow, and to be very smart and strategic, but also deeply connected and authentic with the communities that they're serving. So I hope you got some valuable takeaways. And of course, if you are a female founder and you've got traction and momentum in your business, and you're truly ready to take it to that next level, and you know that you can't keep doing this all by yourself, creating and thinking and planning in a vacuum, and you're a verbal processor, and you thrive in community and need that heart-to-heart in-person connection, then definitely go over to loveovermetrics.com. And I would love to learn more about you, your vision, your dreams, your goals. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for your heart and attention in listening to Lead with Love. If this message, leading with love in life and business, and remembering the humans and beating hearts behind the numbers and all of that good stuff, I would love for you to take the time to leave an honest review. It would mean the world to me, and it also helps more people find out about the goodness and helping spreading more love in the world, which we really, really need. So I would really appreciate that, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.